Okay, today it's time to do the digital signature animation. So to do that, you're going to want to open up Photoshop and the internet, log into Schoology. You're going to go to week 6, and this is what you're going to click on, the animation exercise. So you click on this. This is going to pop up, and then if you scroll down, it's right here at the bottom. Photoshop document. Click on that, and then it should pop up down on here. If you double click on it in Google Chrome, it'll pop up. If you do it in Microsoft Edge, you have to do that, but if you see it pop up down on the bottom of your browser, just double click on it when it gets done loading, and then it should pop up this in your Photoshop. This is just a empty white box. There's nothing going on, and this is just an exercise. This is not the grade per se. This shows you how to do the signature part, which I will also show you. I just want everybody to get the hang of this before you go on to your signature. This is just to get your feet wet. So when this opens, the first thing I want you to do is go up here to Window and choose Timeline right here at the very bottom. Timeline. Click on that. This is going to pop up, and it's going to say create video timeline. You do not want to do that. You want to hit this little arrow key right here, and you want to create a frame animation. So before you even start, definitely open up the timeline, change this to create frame animation. Alright, so far you can't really hit play or do anything because nothing's going on. So we need to add something right here. So what we're going to do is you're going to go all the way to here, and I'm holding down, I'm on the toolbar on the far left. I'm holding down my key on my mouse. I'm holding down the button till this sub menu pops up. We're just going to choose an ellipse tool. So it looks like this. It was the custom shape tool. Now it's the ellipse tool. It draws ellipses. And don't worry about the color. The color's up here. If you really want to change the color, you can. It should be black. If it's not, that's fine. Just anything other than white. So here's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna start like right here. You can see my mouse. I'm just going to click once, and I'm holding down the mouse button, and then I'm going to go down to the right, and you want to make, and I let go once I get it to about that size. You want to make a size about that big, and you'll see these, like this blue circle with 4 dots around it. That's fine. If you just hit enter on your keyboard, it gets rid of that. And then if this pops up, just hit these 2 little arrows over here to get rid of that. It's just a vector thing, so don't worry about that. So the first thing we want to do is, now that we have this, where it says create frame animation, you want to click on that. So once you click on the word create frame animation, you'll see the first frame is all ready to go, and it's just a black circle. So far, if I hit play, I can't really hit play because nothing's going on. So these things right here are you're going to get used to doing these, or just checking them out. Like, I believe this is play, and then we use these 2 a lot. But right now I can't even select any of them because it won't let me. But it will let me select this one. And this one is, it duplicates the selected frame. So I want you to go ahead, click on that, and you'll see a second frame pop up. Now if I hit play, nothing happens. So you can go ahead and hit play and see nothing really happens. Just hit stop and make sure it's stopped on the first frame. So we want to be on the first frame. And you can see if I hit play, it goes this, it goes really fast. That's fine. So first frame, second frame. Now I want you to click on the second frame just so you get an idea of like, okay, they're different frames, they do different things, but nothing's really happening. So I'm on the second frame. I clicked on the second frame, it's highlighted. I'm going to go up to the move tool, and this is the move tool right here. It's this very top tool in your toolbar. And I'm just going to simply move this just over here. And you can see down here, this is the first frame, this is the second frame. So you can see it moved quite a bit. And if you hit play, you'll induce some kind of seizure, maybe open up a portal to another dimension if you get sucked into it. You really don't want to do that. So hit stop, and we're going to go back and click on the second frame. Now that it goes from 1 to 2 really fast. There's no in-betweens. That's where this tweens animation frames, that's where that comes in handy. That's a really helpful tool. So now that we've hit 1 and 2, I'm on the second frame, it's highlighted. I'm going to hit this tween button. It looks like, I don't know, 4 balls that are descending. I hit that, and this is going to pop up. And it says tween with previous frame. You don't really want to change that. And then it wants to add frames. So let's just choose 11. So hit 11, hit OK. And you'll see this is the original second frame. It added 11 frames in between, but if you notice, if I hit play now, it's much more smoother. It actually added a function where it basically did the smoothing for you. So instead of going from that to that really fast, it adds these frames in between. That's why it's called the tween, and it makes it a lot more smoother. It saves you a lot to do a lot of work. It saves a lot of work doing that. So if I hit play now, you can see it just moves across and then goes back. Moves across, goes back. So I'm going to hit stop. So that is how you move something in an animation. You basically duplicate the frame, which I just did. You can see I added another frame. You use a move tool, you move it, and then you tween it. And I'll just type in, I don't know, 6. So if I hit play now, you'll see it goes over there, and then it'll go down there. So it's basically doing a loop. It's kind of jumpy right now because I'm using up a lot of RAM. But you can see right down here on the timeline, that's how you move something for animation. You just basically duplicate, move it, and then you tween it. So that's how you move. I'm going to click on the last frame, whatever number that is. For me, it's 20. I'm going to duplicate it. Alright, and now this is how you move something and change color. So I duplicated 20 to 21. I'm on 21. I'm going to move it up here. You can move it anywhere you want. Now, I could go to tween and tween it like it moves up there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how it changes color. So I'm going to go up here in the layer window. I'm going to right click on this gray part and go to blending options. And this is going to pop up. I'm just going to click on this white bar to drag it down so I can see what I'm doing to this circle, ellipse, whatever. So now I'll just click on color overlay, and okay, it's yellow. Change it to a color other than black, so maybe lime green, blue, whatever. Hit OK. Hit OK. Now I'm going to tween it. Type in a number that, I mean, I wouldn't go higher than probably 20, but I'm just keeping it between, you know, 10 and 20. So at 13. And now when I hit play, you'll see it move. It's a little slow. And then as it goes up, you can see it changes from black to blue. Changes from black to blue. So I'm going to hit stop. And if it stops somewhere in the middle, just scroll this down to the last frame. So I selected the last frame. So now I have showed you how to move it and tween it. And now I've showed you how to move it and change color at the same time. You can just change color. So we'll just change color in this next one. It'll stay up here in the corner. I'm gonna, again, anytime you want to create an animation for your next step, you have to hit duplicate frame. So you can see 34 and 35 are the exact same. They're total duplicates. I'm going to, again, right click on this layer, go to blending options, and you know, if it's covering it up, just drag it down a little bit with this white bar. Here's where I want you to just experiment, you know, maybe do a bevel and emboss, maybe do a stroke. I'll choose like a yellow, and then maybe a drop shadow so I can see that. Hit OK. Alright, before you do anything, go over here to hit the tween. Type in another number. I'll do 11. Hit OK. So now when I hit play, you'll see it move down there, go up there, change colors, and then you can see that it added the blending options right there. It morphed into the blending options. So hit stop. Again, scroll all the way to the end. So now I've showed you how to move, how to change colors, how to use blending options effectively. So now the last thing is I'm gonna do one more. It's called a fade. So I'm on the last frame. The first step you need to do is duplicate. That's not duplicate. There it is. Duplicate. Okay, so I did 46, 47. Alright, now I'm going to move it down to here, and before I tween it, again, I'm just going to go in here to blending options. Again, if you forget how to do that, you just right click in this box, go to blending options, and maybe I'll turn off the color overlay and turn on gradient overlay. And, you know, you can choose a gradient, one of these right there. You just click on that bar, choose one you like. Just hit OK. Maybe I'll change the stroke to like a blue. Okay. Alright, so then you hit OK. And now I'm going, it moves, it changes color, and now I'm going to hit this eyeball. This turns the layer on and off. So you can see it's off. So it goes from 46 to 47. And it looks like it just, you know, disappears, but we moved it, we changed the color, and we turned it off, and that's a fade. So now I'm gonna hit tween, and again I'll put maybe like 16, see what happens. Okay. Alright, so now when I hit play, there's the move, there's the move, there's a move and the change color, and here's the move and the change color, and it dissolves away to nothing as it goes down. You can see it just dissolves to nothing. So that's the three things you need to learn how to do. You need to learn how to move, which is really easy. Again, I'm going to just duplicate this layer. You don't have to do this. I'm just showing you. I duplicated the layer. I'm going to turn this on because you know, I'm just showing you how to move things. I'll move it up here. I'll hit tween. Maybe do like 5. And you can see that's how it moves. Alright, to duplicate, I'm going to show you how to change color. Duplicate, you can see 69 and 70. We'll just change color by going into blending options. I'll just choose a different gradient really quickly here. Okay. I'm going to tween that. I'll just do 5 again. And then you can see it goes from that to the rainbow. And then I'm going to show you how to fade out. Here's how you fade out. You duplicate. So 75 and 76 are exactly opposite. I hit the eyeball. I tween that. Again, you put a number in, doesn't really matter. Hit OK. So now you'll see at 75, 76, you can see it just fades out. Alright, so that is basically the groundwork and the basics for just simple animation. So I want you to go ahead and close this. This was not for a grade. This was just to get acclimated to animation. So I'm going to close this, the little X up there. You can save it if you want. It's not necessary. So this is what leaves what Photoshop leaves you with. Now you're going to go to File, Open. You're going to find your colored signature, not your watermark, your PNG color signature. Go ahead and open that up. Now you'll notice that it's all one layer, and we need to separate these into 3 layers for the animation. So this is where it's going to take some patience and some really good attentiveness. So I'm going to go to the zoom tool because I want to zoom in on the word. I want to separate the word from my signature. So hopefully it's not touching it. If it is, it's no big deal. We'll just work around it. So I'm going to zoom in just slightly so you can see the word. Okay, so there we go. I want to cut around that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going over here. The third tool from the top will most likely be the lasso tool. If it is, that's fine. What I want you to do is whatever tool's right here, just click and hold your mouse button until this sub menu pops up. And you want to choose this tool. This is one of my favorite tools, polygonal lasso tool. So this is how this works. Every time you click, so I'm going to click right here. Every time you click, it sets, this is a selection tool. You can see it's got a line that comes off it. So every time you click, it sets an anchor point. So I'm going to click right here, right there. I'm going around the word design, and notice I'm getting the drop shadow too, so don't leave out the drop shadow. I get very, very close to the copyright. Now here's where it's going to get tricky. If you're touching, you just have to basically split the difference right there. Click, 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 click. I'm trying not to get that shadow right there. Click, 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 and then that's unavoidable. That's fine. Once you get to the original point, you want to double click. So I double clicked, and you can see the marching ants is what a lot of people like to call it. This is your selection. So if you see that and it's just around your word, that's great. That's awesome. Don't do anything. Just, watch, make sure it's selected. What you're going to do now is you're going to go up here to layer, and you're going to go to new, and then you're going to do layer via cut. And I want you to look over here while you do that. Layer, new, layer via cut. What's going to happen is it's going to create its own special layer for the word design. So if you hit this eyeball, it's now its own layer. So It's its own layer, which is great. So I'm going to click, make sure they're both on. Now we need to separate the copyright. And if you only have, if you don't have the copyright, or if you just have the word designs, or maybe you just have copyright, that's fine. But you want to separate all three. You want to separate all three components of your signature so they're separate layers. So I'm going to go back to layer 1, which is this layer, which has the C. So notice it's highlighted gray. It's highlighted gray. I have designs right here, and I have this one right here, and this one's selected. I still have the polygonal lasso tool. Now I'm going to carefully select around. I'll make sure I get the shadow. Okay. And when I get, again, click, 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 click. And when you get around to the original starting point, you double click. You can see it's got a nice selection. And it's the same thing. You go up here to layer, new, layer via cut. And now the copyright is all by itself. It looks a little funny, but that's fine. This is just basic animation anyways. Okay, so we have that separated, we have that separated, we have that separated, except it's kind of hard to tell which is which, so that's why we need to name our layers. So go to layer 1 right here. See how it's highlighted? I turned off the eye to let you know which one I'm on. Now where it says layer 1, I want you to very quickly double click right where it says layer 1, and then type in the word signature. And then when you get done typing it, just click over here in the gray to get rid of that. And then figure out which layer this is. Okay, that's the copyright. Again, I'm going to put my mouse right over layer 3 and double click. And I'll call that copyright or trademark or registered, whatever you chose. Again, click over here in the gray, which means this is the word designs. So I'm going to double click right where it says layer 2, designs. Click right here. Okay, so if in case you're zoomed in, you want to zoom back out to see everything, go to view, fit on screen. And you can see that I've got a nice area to work with. Don't do what I'm doing right now. I'm just showing you in case you don't have a nice area. Say yours is really tight like this and you don't have a lot of space to work with. I'm going to show you, again, don't do what I just did. If you don't have a lot of space to work with, this is what you need to do. And this is a total judgment call on your part, because we need to animate your signature coming in and, you know, either changing color, moving, fading out. So here's how to add more space around your name if you need it. I kind of need it now that I cropped it. So you're going to go up to Image, Canvas Size, and this is going to pop up. Now, right now, the canvas is 5.7 inches by 2.2. Yours is most likely different numbers. What I want you to do is just add a couple inches to each side. So it's 5.7. I'll round it up to 8. It's 2.2. I'm just going to go ahead and round it up to 5 or 6. That's fine. 6 or 5. So I rounded it up more than 2 inches. That's fine. Click OK, and you'll notice now we have a lot more space to work with. So you might need to do that. That's a total judgment call for you. Now chances are it's not showing the entire composition, if that ever happens. And remember this shortcut, view, fit on screen. You can see right here, Control 0. It allows you to see the entire, that's the very, very top, and that's the very, very bottom, and it fits everything nice and neat. Okay, so now we're going to do the color signature. So right now there's no frame showing up because we need to click Create Frame Animation. Make sure that says Create Frame Animation. If it says Video Timeline, do not click on that. Change that to Create Frame Animation and then click on the word create frame animation, or the words, and then that pops up right there. So this is going to be your first frame. Now, this doesn't have to be where it starts. In fact, I don't think it should start off like this, but it's totally up to you. This is why I want everyone's to be different than mine. I don't want everybody's animation to look exactly like mine. So you could, you know, instead of starting off everything in the middle, I'm going to hit the move tool. I'm in the move tool. I'm going to go to signature and I'll move it totally off the page. Maybe just show a little bit. Show a little bit so you know where it is. And you can see I got the ending mark on my signature. Now I'm going to go to copyright. Maybe I'll move that down here. I just want to see just a little bit of it so I know where it is. Now I'm going to click on the word design. See how it's highlighted. I'm going to go like that. So this is going to be my first frame. Alright, just remember these steps. Duplicate, do your animation, which is either move it, color it, or fade it out, and then you tween it. So I need to duplicate. That is the first step. So you can see first frame, second frame, first frame, second frame. So nothing's happening. So this is the second frame. I'm going to click on the word signature. Again, you're going to use the move tool a lot. And here's the signature. I know it's up here. I'm going to move it down here. Now I'm going to click on the word copyright, or the layer copyright. Move that right there. Now go to designs. Move that up here. Move that over just a smidge. There you go. Alright, so it goes from that to that. A lot of people forget to do this step. You cannot forget to do the tween. So I'm going to tween it. Again, don't type in something more than 20. I would keep it around between 10 and 20. That's just me. So I'll type in 10. Hit OK. I'll hit play. You can see it moves in and stops right there. So hit stop. I'm on the last frame, whatever frame that is. For me it's 12. It might be something different for you. Now maybe I want it to change color. So again, to start something new, you duplicate the frame. Now I'm going to go to signature, and you can either right click and go to blending options. And if you have a drop shadow, it's going to change a little bit. It's going to make it a lot less readable. That's fine. This is just basic animation anyways. So if I go to gradient overlay, you can see that it becomes a lot less harder to read. So maybe I'll change it to a gradient where it's a little easier to read, not so bright. And maybe a darker one. And if you don't like these colors, like blue into yellow, you can always change them. So like, see this blue right here? I'll just double click on that, bring up the color picker, make that black. Maybe I'll double click on this red, and you make that, you know, a dark blue, and then double click on that yellow, maybe make that a lime or a light blue. Hit OK. Again, you can see it's not as readable. If you hit bevel and emboss, sometimes that helps. You don't want to make it soft. You kind of want to, I don't know, experiment with it, with the depth and whatnot. It's a little bit better reading wise. So change the color, hit OK. And if you want that same color scheme in the other two, it's really easy to translate that or transfer that. I'm going to go to signature. Alright, I'm on the signature layer. It's highlighted. I'm going to right click, go to copy layer style. I just basically copy what I just did. I'm going to go to copyright, or whatever layers are left. Right click, paste layer style. Now go to designs, right click, paste layer style, and you can see they changed colors. So it went from that to that. A lot less readable, I know, but again, I'm not really grading these hard. So it goes from that to that. We need to tween it so you can see that transition better. So I'm going to hit the tween, type in a number between 10 and 20, so maybe 14. Hit OK. And then when you hit play, you'll see it move in, change color. Okay, so it moves, it changes color. The last part we need, and this is where I'll hit stop, is to have the fade out. So I'm on 27. I'm on my last frame, whatever frame number that is for you. I'm going to duplicate it because we need to do the fade out. And then I'm going to just turn off all these. This is probably the easiest part of the animation because basically you just turn off the eyeballs on everything. Alright, so it goes from that to that. We need to tween it. So hit the tween button. I'll put 12 in. And then when I hit play, it moves, it changes color, and it dissolves. Now that's just the basics that you can do. I'm just looking that you guys know how to do that. If you want to add more, by all means. I love when people just, experiment with it and they don't do the bare minimum, so they'll just keep adding to it. I had somebody had like 2,000 frames on theirs. So I'm on 40. Like if say you want to do more, because all I'm looking for is movement, color change, and a dissolve or fade out. So if you want to do more, say I'm on 40, I duplicate it. Maybe I turn these back on. Maybe I turn off these effects, and that's how you turn off the effects. You just hit this little eyeball where it says effects. So it goes from that to that. Maybe I'll tween that. 11. So now it fades out. Now it fades back in, and you can see it's getting gradually darker. And then maybe you want to duplicate that, and maybe you start moving it out. So I'm on designs, maybe I want to move that out totally. Now I'm on copyright, move that out totally. Signature, move that out totally. You kind of know where they are. And then maybe tween that. You don't have to do this. This is for people that, they like doing this kind of stuff. And you can see now when I hit play, we'll start at the very beginning. So it moves, changes colors, dissolves back in, changes color again, and now it's got a lot more continuity because it keeps playing over and over again. Now if it doesn't play over and over again, if it just plays once, easy fix. And this is again something you can experiment with. So down here on your timeline, you'll see it says forever right there. If you hit that little arrow, maybe you just want it to play once, maybe you want to do 3 times. I always click forever, that way if it's on a web page, this is how they do, animated GIFs on the internet. I do forever. And again, they're all 0 seconds. It's very, very quick. You can even change the timing if you'd like. Say you want it to, on this frame right here, you want to hold that. If you see where it says 0 seconds, you can change that to 1 second, 0.5 seconds. And if you want to do more than one, so say you want to do 1 through 7 a little bit slower, I'm going to select the first frame. I'm going to hold down shift on my keyboard and choose frame 7 and see how they all highlight up. And then you can change that to maybe 0.1, and you can see right down here it changes everything to 0.1. That way you don't have to go into each one and do that. It just takes forever to do that. So if you want to say the speed is too fast and you want to slow it down, say you want them all to be the same speed but you don't want them to be 0 seconds, I hit the first frame, I go all the way to the last frame, and before I click on it, I hold down the shift key And you can see they all got highlighted gray, and then you just change it to whatever timing you want, so maybe 0.2 seconds. So now when I hit play, it'll be a lot slower. And then maybe if you want to have one frame to be longer than the others, so say like this one, you can change that to 1 second, so it stays on that for 1 second. Like I said, I want you to experiment, not just do the bare. I'm looking for the bare minimum. If you just do the movement, like right here, that's that's a grade, and then the color change, that's a grade, and then obviously the dissolve, that's a grade. So that's 33 points, 33 points, 33 points. So that's basically 100. So if you do those three things, that's all I'm looking for. So once you get your animation where you like it, where you have the movement, you have the color change, and you have the dissolve, here's how you save it. You're going to go up here to File. You're going to go to Export. You're going to go to Save for Web Legacy. And this is going to pop up right here. Now right now it's just a JPEG. You do not want to save this yet. Whatever you do not save it yet. You want to change this JPEG to GIF. It's an animated GIF, and you'll see it's probably reading all the frames. So wait for that blue bar to go all the way across. And then you're gonna hit save. Make sure that says GIF right there. It's gotta say GIF right there. You hit save. Save it somewhere where you know where it is. I always click on the desktop and then my folder. And you can do, we'll change this to animation. And maybe your last name. So animation, last name, hit save. It's going to save again with a blue bar. Wait for that to save. Now you can go back to the internet. To Schoology, you're going to go to week 6. And you'll see at the very bottom, signature animation submission must be in GIF format when you upload. So you're going to click on that. And then submit assignment right here. Submit. You're going to click on the file icon. Go to the desktop, to your folder, look for animation, your last name, click on that, hit open. Notice it says GIF right there, so that's the way I know I'm doing it right, because it literally says make sure it's in GIF format. Once it gets done, you hit submit. It'll be right there. If you want to see if it worked right, we'll click on it. Sometimes you need a download file. Sometimes it'll show up, other times it won't. We'll download file and hit open, and then you can see it come together in real time. It looks a lot more finished. It's not so jumpy now. And then you can see it go out. So that's how you do an animation. We'll get into more difficult animation after this project. But hopefully I explained that well. Again, when I grade these, I'm looking for movement, which is movement right here. And then I'm looking for a color change, which is right there. And then I'm looking for a dissolve, which means you turn off the eyeballs and then you tween it. So the 3 steps that I want you to do, that I want you to remember, are to animate, you duplicate, then you do your animation part, your action, which is either movement, color, or dissolve. And then the third thing is you fade it out or dissolve, and that's when you hit the eyeballs and you make sure you tween that. That's the third step. Third step's tween. So first step is duplicate. Second step, action. Third step, tween. Happy animating.